I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. So, I have with me today Alessandra Wall, and her business is called Noteworthy. So, I'm so delighted to have you here. And what I want to do is do a deep dive into your career journey. And I'm going to ask you to start by providing a brief introduction, and we'll just go ahead and dive into questions, okay?
That sounds fabulous. I can do that.
Okay, awesome. All right. So if you would be so kind to give us about a 90-second overview of what it is that you do and why you got into it.
Sure. I'm going to try to do this in 90 seconds. These days, my job is to make sure that when women do all the work it takes to get to the top of whatever their career chain is, that once they're in that position, they actually have a life that's fulfilling. They still look forward to walking into work every day, and they have the authority to make the impact that they thought that they would make once they got all the way to the top.
Wow. And how did you get into that business?
That's the piece that is a difficult one. That's more than 90 seconds. I'll try to make it short. I started my career as a child psychologist turned adult therapist, turned, like everybody, when you have a midlife crisis, life coach, turned what I do now, which is somewhere between executive and leadership coaching. The common thread in all of those careers is a really firm belief that although the circumstances in our life shape us, they do not need to define us. And an
Mm,
understanding and a desire to work with people to help them take ownership of the courses of their lives with the ultimate goal of being able to look back and not say, I regret, which is very different from not saying, I screwed up, I made a poor choice, that wasn't right for me. Uh, I fell out of love with being a therapist for a variety of reasons. Having children allowed me to discover that I was an introvert. So, being on all day long and being with people all day long to then go back to a family and having to be on all day long was much more difficult after children. Um, I wanted to work with people who were ready to take action and do things as opposed to working with people who were had to be pulled out of inaction or being frozen or just be functioning underneath their baseline. And coaching allows me to do that. And coaching allows me to work beyond the constraints and the barriers of therapy. As a therapist, you have a single relationship with the people you help, and it is doctor patient. You are constrained to wherever you're licensed, and the cynic in me says it's a pay to play system. So it doesn't matter that California's laws are some of the strictest laws in the country for operating. I would still need to pay and get licensed in a billion states. I can work internationally. I have clients all around the country. I get to sit down at lunch and take my clients out to pop bottles of champagne when wonderful things happen to them. That that flexibility and impact in a relationship is to me it's marvelous.
there are so many things that you said that resonate with me, starting with the fact that our life circumstances don't necessarily define us. A lot of us allow them to, though. So that's where someone with your skill set and being able to help pull us out of that negative thinking can
Mhm.
be so empowering. The other thing that really resonated with me is that you're interested in working with women who literally want to take action.
Yes.
And that, you don't know this about me, but my work as a financial advisor is, when I'm at work deciding whether or not to work with somebody, that's one of the key things is you've got to be willing to invest in yourself and be willing to take action, because I can tell you all the things to do, but unless you're willing to take the steps, we can't make much progress, right?
I completely agree. And I am right there with you. And I know you and I have probably been at points in our careers where we're like, you've got a pulse, you've got a problem, I'm going to jump in, I can help you. It's very nice to be at a stage where you're like, no, no, no. I want to work with people who, of course, they can do it on their own. Harder, longer, often with less good results. That I have. I don't know about you. I have coaches. I have a financial advisor. Um, these are to have the right expert in your corner and to know that that doesn't mean that they're going to do the work for you, but they're going to help you do the work so that you can be empowered to transform your finances, to build wealth and security, to have a career you like. For my case, like, it's so much more fun to work with people who get that.
Absolutely. And to know that you're empowering people to really be excited about going to work every day,
Yeah.
right? That's awesome. So tell me, what is it that makes you unique in the way that you're helping others? I have an inkling it has to do with your psychology background, but I want to hear what you have to say about that.
It is actually, and I'll be really honest. When I left my role as a therapist, when I decided I wanted to no longer be a therapist, and I overlapped, I'm a very um, it's not that I'm risk averse, but I like to do things cautiously. So I had both careers overlap and both businesses overlap for a while. But when I showed up in my role as a coach, I did not mention Dr. Wall. I did not mention the PhD. I did not mention being a clinical psychologist because I wanted to divorce the two roles entirely. What happened is that people who knew what my background was would come to me and say, I want to speak with you. Our company wants to work with you. We want you to develop a program specifically because you're an expert in human motivation and in human dynamics. So for me, there are two big things that I probably do very differently. One is I have all that background from understanding when I talk to folks about articulating value, understanding the neurochemistry of how we talk and what impact that's going to have for us and the people we're talking to, and being able to explain to people why being told you should smile more shouldn't be something you accept if somebody says you just look prettier, you should smile more, but helping them understand that there's something that happens neurochemically in the brain when you smile, for you and for the person who watches you smile, and that not only is evolutionary, but it's worth capitalizing on. So that's a big piece. A lot of my clients are extremely stressed, extremely, they have so many demands, they're so ambitious. As a former perfectionist, as somebody who used to specialize in anxiety and perfectionism, a lot of them have those traits and they've carried them to a certain point and now they're burying them, and really looking at that. That's one piece. I think the other piece, I'm going to just quote something a client of mine said, that it's one of those things, I'm sure you have it too, Donna. There are things that you do naturally that are so second nature to you that you don't think of them as important. But one of my clients this year said, you care so much. She's like, that is not something that any of us can get from what you write. I post on LinkedIn 5 days a week. I write about stories that people are like, oh, you get me, it's my story. But she's like, you genuinely care so much about us, the investment of time, of energy. And to me, well, no duh. I'm working with you. Of course I care about you. But that is I now know, like, a significant differentiator.
That is so huge, and what a great compliment to you as well, because you're showing up in a way that you're not just coming across as doing a job, but literally caring, and they're feeling that, sensing it, all of the great things.
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
huge.
I've had clients out of work and be in positions where technically, for example, maybe their contract with me ended, but in the midst of their contract, something happened. I'm like, I'm not bailing on them. And nor am I going to say, if I know the circumstances of their finances, I might say, it's okay. Like, let's just get you to the next stage. And whether we continue working together or not, like, let's just get you there. Or you're dealing with something really difficult. And there's that outreach. again, second nature. I don't think about it. Now I know it's a differentiator.
That is awesome. Kudos to you. So tell me, where do you see your industry, this unique niche that you're in? Where do you see this going in the next 5 to 10 years? And how are you staying on top of that?
Well, we all know AI is going to come in and do a lot of what all of us do. So there are two ways of approaching that reality. One is with fear. The bots are going to replace me. Uh, the other is with understanding how to leverage the value that AI can bring to support the work we do. I play a lot with AI right now, actually, to tell you the truth. And sometimes I'm blown away, and other times I'm like, oh my goodness, this just added like so much more work. But I know people who are hiring AI, heads of AI for their for companies that are my size, right? So not huge firms, for like 6 people, um, to help them figure out how to use AI. So that's one thing. And we see this. That's one place. The other place it's going is, I think a lot of companies and a lot of individuals are going to rely on organizations like Better Up or Coach Hub that provide online courses and easy access, what I like to call the Uber, right, of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's this natural scarcity mindset that kicks in. Like, I cannot compete with somebody who's offering their services at a fraction because they're contracting out. It's a very different level of engagement and care. So these things that used to scare me, and they think there's going to be a lot more of that. There's affordability that comes with that. There's accessibility that comes with that. There's scalability that comes with these kinds of options. They're fantastic. And actually, what they do is they're going to bring the at least the basic impact of coaching to more people, and I'm all for that. And then for me, it's about really distinguishing what we do differently. I work nearly exclusively with women, and
Okay.
sometimes I will have companies want to work with me and say, well, what's different about what you do? And I'm like, the skill sets to be a strong leader are universal across gender, but how you apply that skill is different if you're a woman. The simplest thing is this: we know that visibility is the number one factor associated with advancement for women. But if a woman walks into a room and says, I am the best person for this job, and here's why you should put me in charge of this program right now, because da 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 da. There is this part in the way we're socialized. There's studies that have shown that will lead all of us, men and women alike, to look at women and kind of have this, who does she think she is? We love when celebrities do this. So if you're Taylor Swift, if you're Beyonce, Viola Davis, we love you for doing it as women. But when it's Donna or Alessandra doing this, if Donna and Alessandra haven't built a really strong brand, a really strong like support, we walk into those rooms, we do this thing that we need in order to get advancement, and it works against us. But a man can do that. And hopefully, eventually, we change the world so that we don't have to do quite as much dancing. But that is for me a big differentiator. It's like, this isn't just about coaching, it's about looking at the realities of being who we are, operating true to who our personalities, to our values, and all those things, and aligning that with tried and true leadership or executive leadership skills. Again, ultimately, I just want women to be able to lead at the highest levels in all spaces, um, without having to sacrifice everything to get there and to stay there. So many women will get to senior leadership and then they'll leave. There's not enough support. It's too difficult. The rules aren't written for us in general. And so after a while, they're like, I thought I would get all these incredible things. They're not here. The freedom I thought I'd have, the breathing room, the ability to set boundaries, authority to say something and have it done, I'm out. I want to change that.
I love everything about what you just said. So, and I can imagine we as women, we strive, we reach the top, and then we get there and we go, okay, where'd all the support go?
Mhm.
Right? Oh, I'm still having to wear all the hats and it's too much. So, and very interesting. I'd love to shift gears just a little bit and have you share with me what is the biggest challenge, whether it's personally or professionally? What's the biggest challenge that you've faced thus far in your life, and how has it shaped the way you're doing business today?
I'm stopping because there are two places I can go. I mean, realistically, the biggest challenge I've ever faced is self-doubt.
Mm,
Right? I mean, I could say, oh, I grew up with ADHD and that made things really difficult. I was going to talk about, well, from a business standpoint, I was trained as a psychologist. That's a clinical skill. They don't really teach you very much about building a business. It was really difficult to learn how to run a business, and especially a business that isn't as easy to sell. Therapy is really
mhm,
easy to sell. You're good at what you do, you hang your shingle. At the very least, you sign up with insurance companies, you're going to have clientele coming in, they know what to expect. So if you're basically good at what you do as a therapist, you can have a thriving practice. Coaching is very different. It's a luxury, right? I believe it's a must have. I addressed that confidence and those trusting myself issues actually by hiring coaches, and now I'm much better. But I would say it's the biggest hurdle because what it led to is often making my life harder, working harder than I need to,
mhm,
or not trusting myself to dream
mm,
big or to do
mm,
big things. When moments got hard, so like 2022, do you remember 2022 it wasn't the first time, because I think it started in 2027 where everybody was talking about a recession, a recession, a recession. It started in
mhm.
2027, but by 2022 it got really, really loud by the end. And all of 2023 in my business line, both for women and the companies that hired them, people's budgets really shrunk. Not trusting oneself means that you're much more likely to enter a scarcity mindset. So look at
Mhm.
something like that and go, oh, well, that's it, business is gone. And then to not operate effectively versus somebody who's got that confidence is going to go, okay, this is happening. It's true. It's factual. All the companies now are reducing their budgets. A lot of women are losing their jobs, and not but. And therefore, this is how we're going to operate. We're going to be fine. We just need to do things slightly differently. So that has been the biggest challenge. And I've worked on it my whole career, but I boot camped my way through that in 2023.
Wow. And I will tell you, self doubt every single day, imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ooh, that's a big one for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I spent all of 2023 working. My coach at the time, we were just about to be done with the second year of working together, has among her staff an energy coach.
wow.
And I started working with my coach the year before. When it came time to renew my contract with her, actually business was had been really slow. Financially, what felt safe would have been to say, I can't renew. This is a big ticket item, multi five figure investment. Um, but I did the opposite. I'm like, yep, I'm in. Like, let's renew. I was the one who kept on saying in advance, our contract's about to end. We need to renew. We need to renew. We need to renew, because I knew that the going was going to get tough. I knew that my cash on hand in my business was going to go down. And I knew that what I needed more than anything else was somebody who was going to help me continue to think and operate strategically, not give in to fear, call out the self doubt, call out the scarcity, and to be able to work. And that's really the work I did in 2023, work through all those moments and learn how to do something I do for other people all the time, couldn't do for
Mhm.
myself. Learn how to see that happen and go, it's okay. Like, I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. Do I like it? No. Would I sleep better if the cash on hand was 3x what it is now? Of course. But the reality is the world is abundant and the opportunities are out there if you just continue moving forward. which was true, by the way, because we only at the end of the year only lost like a 15% margin on our gross. I don't think we lost very much on profit. This year we've doubled our profit. We've I have to look at the numbers for the year, but we've probably increased our gross by maybe 50%.
Wow.
No, that's too much. 30%, right? And it's not like the economy this year was that much better. It's the shift in mindset.
Mindset. That's such a powerful thing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be listening to this interview again myself just to hear all that you just shared about mindset and having the support. I think that's essential. Awesome. Okay, here's another question for you. If you could have lunch with anyone, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Okay, this is going to sound corny. My father. So my father died 20 years ago. I will try not to get teary-eyed about this. My father died 20 years ago, and I was just talking about this with my oldest son who's 15. I have had the pleasure of getting to know my mother as an adult. I am one of those weird women who, even in my 30s and early 40s, I loved hanging out with those septuagenarian and octogenarian women. She's still in France. I love going back home and seeing my mom, hanging out with my aunts. I'm not antsy to go hang out with old high school friends or happy to hang out with the octogenarians. But part of it is my mother is genuinely a human being I like. It's not just that I love her because she's my mom. I think I would love to travel more with her. She's just a little slow for me, then I get frustrated with her at this point. I wish I had gotten to know my father in the same way. But my father died when I was 26 going on 20, or when I was 27, excuse me. He died
Mhm.
before I got married. He died without seeing his grandchildren. And
Mm,
all of those things, I'm sad for him. But more than anything else, there's so many conversations I'd like to have with him as an adult woman to an adult man about
mm,
life, about business, about like awareness as an adult about his insecurities,
mm.
um, and how they've influenced me and how I've overcome them, like all of those things. My dad.
And you just didn't get that opportunity.
I did not. I mean, we were so close, but we were so close, like a girl is super close to her father, right? I was
Right.
his confidant. Um, I was the one who went to go garden with him, and we've made my birthday cake since I was 5 together, right? So I would bake with him. We'd make Christmas. We did things together. He taught me how to use power tools. So all of that like close child parent was there. But nobody, when you're getting ready to be a parent, the focus is so much on your children's childhood. But your children's childhood is this teeny piece
Yeah.
of the lifespan of the relationship you'll have with them. The majority of your relationship with your children will be adult to adult,
Mm.
right? And in my 20s, I was in graduate school. So I was in college. I went straight from college to graduate school. So I didn't, that's the thing, like for all intents and purposes, even though I was 26 or 27 when he died, I was still operating as a student.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Well, that's impactful. And I know everyone will appreciate just the gentle reminder to have those adult relationships with their parents. I think that's very valuable. So tell me this, if people want to work with you, learn more about how to work with you, where do they reach out to you?
There are two places. So one is LinkedIn. As I said, I post daily on LinkedIn. I post based on stories, conversations I have with folks. So if somebody's interested in figuring out like what are the kind of problems you're helping people solve, what are the kind of dreams you're helping people unlock, like LinkedIn, and the handle is Dr. Alessandra Wall. So Dr.
Okay.
Alessandra, which is one L, two S's, and then Wall, like the Pink Floyd album. And then the other one is just go onto my website. There's all the ways to contact me are both on LinkedIn and my website. I'm always happy to have a conversation. I'm lucky enough to be really picky about who I work with right now. And part of that is all my clients are brought together in a community, every single one of them. So it's not just about can I work with them? Can I help them? Do I find them interesting? It's you're going to be part of a larger community of women who you're going to have peer advisory calls with, and they're going to help you grow and you're going to help support them. That fit needs to exist. And I'm always looking at that. But I love having conversations with people. So those are two places to find me. DM me and say, hey, can we have a connection call? And we'll just chat, no agenda.
I love that. And I can feel your compassion just in listening to you explain that to us. So thank you so much. Well, this has been a great time today. I'm so glad to have had you on the show. So we'll go ahead and end now. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.